When this man took charge as the Prime Minister in May, the country's infrastructure was in desperate need for a clean-up act. 100 days later, there is a renewed optimism in the sector, although most projects are still in the conceptual stage. The Modi regime started off with a promise to unclog mega infra projects that are stuck due to regulatory bottlenecks. The move has been lauded by the captains of India Inc., who are ready to be patient with the government.
You will see the result coming on the ground from 1 year from now, or I would say April, May. Because a lot of things which has been pending, they want to clear first low-hanging fruits. Clear all the coal issue for which the power plant are held up.
Among the key initiatives, Swachh Bharat, the mission to clean India, has been lapped up by corporates, with the likes of the Tatas, L&T and Bharti chipping in with big money. Modi has also managed to rope in its new strategic partner, Japan, to give a big push to other mega projects like the cleaning up of the Ganges, the Varanasi Smart City project and the ambitious Mumbai to Ahmedabad bullet train project. The Highways Ministry under Nitin Gadkari is also working overtime to build new roads in record time.
One thing I do see is that coordination between ministries. There's a greater purpose to work in Delhi, but there are as yet no major breakthroughs and solutions.
The verdict is clear. Modi's infra focus is welcome, but it's too early to predict the results. And even as the jury is still out on the first 100 days, PM Modi will have to deal with a lot of challenges like land acquisition laws, environmental issues and centre-state coordination if he has to deliver on his promises. Ashwin Mohan, ET Now, Mumbai.
Let's take it straight across to the one man who has his finger on the pulse of everything that happens in infrastructure here in India. Vinayak Chatterjee joins us right here on ET Now. Thanks very much for being with us, Mr. Chatterjee. The talk is rather positive, but projects aren't really taking off. New investment hasn't still broken ground. Project Monitoring Group seems to suggest that they've cleared about 165 projects. Over 5.5 lakh crore rupees have been cleared. How soon do you see this begin to reflect in tangible numbers?
Okay, look. I think the first thing is that so far as this 100 days is concerned, I think you should rule out the first 30-40 days in terms of a pure settling down period, which leaves effectively about 60 days or 2 months for the government to get its hands into the huge number of issues that affect the infrastructure sector. And therefore, to get to a straight answer on your question as to when the corporate sector or the private sector is going to see action, my belief is that we are gearing up to see action from the beginning of Q4, because I think it is only fair to give the government time to sharpen the axe before it starts cutting the trees in terms of announcing the new projects. And in terms of sharpening the axe, I think a huge number of issues have been dealt with in the first 100 days, as you call it. I think on overarching issues, the biggest signal that the government has given the private sector in infrastructure, that it is extremely keen to revive the PPP concept and the PPP formats for attracting private capital in infrastructure. I think the biggest signal was the portion in the budget announcement of Shri Jaitley, which allocated 500 crores for a new institution called 3P India. Now, 3P stands for PPP, and you will agree with me that 500 crores is a fairly large budget allocation for getting to grips with the PPP format. I think that was the single biggest, shall I say, signal.
But Mr. Chatterjee, by March 31st next year, no industry will have to go to any office to file for applications or clearances that they need. It will all be done via an e-business portal. We believe this is a step towards moving discretion and reducing the red tape. Do you concur?
Completely. I think while you did say March 31st, but from Indian industry we are aware of the fact that in the Ministry of Environment and Forests, much of these e-platforms are already in working mode. And similarly, if you have been tracking Mr. Anil Swarup and the Cabinet Committee on Investment stroke PMG product, the Project Monitoring Group, I think excellent work has been done to create a huge number of clearances and permissions on e-platforms. And more importantly is that I believe 16 states are now emulating the central software program that will even enable seamless coordination between permissions that are required at the central level and permissions that are required at the state level. I'm talking about this for infrastructure projects. So they're all pushes in the right direction.
In fact, we will have Mr. Swaroop on the channel tomorrow, but let's keep this discussion going. Let's talk about, the approach of the road ministry to move to engineering, procurement and construction, the EPC model over the build, operate, transfer model, which of course we know has run into its fair share of trouble. Do you believe that's the way to look at it?
It is a perfectly right approach under the circumstances, because PPP had virtually crashed in terms of huge impediments in the working formats that PPP projects were negatively subjected to. So while the MCA document and various processes relating to the BOT model are under scrutiny and under rectification, the process to get PPP sentiments back in the road sector is going to take, to my mind, anything up to 2 to 3 years. It is in this period that the roads minister does not want to see any slackening in the roads program, but has actually announced, and rightfully so, that while PPP is being reset, we are hopeful to get a huge number, a certainly large kilometerage of road projects construction in the EPC mode, which is actually one of the most appropriate strategy under the circumstances. Then as the PPP confidence and sentiment is revived and comes back, then the EPC can once again be gradually replaced with PPP. And I think therefore this is the most correct assessment of the situation and an appropriate response.
Right. Mr. Chatterjee, there's no denying that power is the biggest pie in infrastructure, and we're nowhere close to really fixing the fuel supply mess. On that account, are you disappointed? Sure, there is positive talk on, pooling and commercial coal mining, but will these be paper tigers, or is it doable?
A lot of steps that the power minister announced with regard to rationalizing coal linkages are very practical suggestions. I don't want to get into details, but having a power plant situated near a coal mine and yet having a coal linkage from a place further away, or a power plant on the coast which could actually get imported coal much quicker. These are issues of coal linkage rationalization that the power minister has attempted, including talking to Coal India about the quantum of e-auctions, etc., etc. So I think the first attack certainly has been on coal rationalization. Simultaneously, the government is also addressing the gas issue. As you know, the gas price increase is likely to be announced within a fortnight by an empowered group of secretaries in this case, and then ratified by cabinet. The real issue to my mind is that there is surplus capacity available today, even with the constraints of coal. So the real issue to my mind is to get the DISCOMs to actually pick up more offtake from the power plants, which, if you ask me, is the single biggest impediment in my mind affecting the power sector far more than the coal problem.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.